This is Paul Pearson, host of Star Time. And when I'm not stopping a Mercer Island street brawl, I'm listening to Rainier Avenue Radio World.
Do you have an idea for a community project in your neighborhood? You could be eligible for up to $50,000 in funding through the City of Seattle's Neighborhood Matching Fund. Grants are awarded to grassroots projects that build stronger communities, with an emphasis on projects led by impacting Black, Indigenous, and people of color BIPOC communities. To learn more about the Neighborhood Matching Fund or to see if your project meets the criteria, visit seattle.gov/neighborhoods/NMF.
Kind of nonsense conversation are we having here?
The Neon Ghost Show. The Neon Ghost Show. Right here on Rainier Rainier Avenue Radio .world.
Right about now.
Rainier Avenue Radio .world. I'm so tired. I have to pee.
How would COVID vaccines work in your body? Here are 3 things to know. Number 1, a vaccine is basically a training session for the immune system. Vaccines teach the immune system to look for the key features of a virus. So when a virus does show up, it's ready to fight it off. Number 2, a vaccine gives your body a plan to recognize the virus. Then your immune system starts preparing by making antibodies, or fighter cells, that stay in your blood as protection in case the virus tries to invade. What this means is you get immunity against the disease without having to get sick first. Number 3, when enough people's bodies know how to fight off a virus, it has nowhere to go. That slows the spread. When people get a vaccine, we're able to stop the spread quicker and get closer to ending the pandemic. To learn more, go to covidvaccinewa.org. A message from the state of Washington.
Hospital bills are often a surprise, and not the good kind. But you may also be surprised to learn that you can get 50, 75, or even 100% off those bills. Thanks to a new law, there's a good chance you're one of the 4 million Washingtonians who qualify. Whether or not you have health insurance, the law requires hospitals provide the care you need at an affordable cost. So, ask your hospital or visit affordablehospital.wa.gov to see if you are eligible.
You are listening to Rainier Avenue Radio .world. Don't forget to log on www.rainieravenue.radio.world.
It's 7 o'clock on the dot, and this is LidLine Sports. Welcome back, everybody, to LidLine Sports. I want to thank everybody for listening. I am your man, Pep, and we got O remotely today because he's having a little problem with his little 57 Packard. What's going on?
Could be worse.
Yeah, of course. Absolutely. You're here.
Great. I'm gonna say I'm here with you, man. We're gonna make my Monday as great as possible.
We are live here, beautiful downtown Columbia City in the south end of Seattle, Washington. So the big weekend of March Madness got underway Thursday, and boy, oh boy, it's some madness.
Yeah. Man, I know everybody's bracket was ripped up after day one, like normal now. I don't know. We got 2 number 1 seeds left.
Yep.
I know it's
Alabama.
Yeah, that is. I mean, we talked about it last week. We know that we knew that this was going to be a crazy tournament.
But there was no clear-cut favorite, right? There's no juggernaut that would have been in years past.
Yeah, I would say that how Alabama was playing going into the tournament, and with them, playing around being the number 1 team in the nation for the last couple of weeks, I would say that they had, not a clear favorite, but if anybody had to put their money on one team, it would be Alabama. But yes, it's not clear.
Yeah, they're the number one overall seed for a reason,
Yeah.
right? So
Mhm.
yeah, they're probably the best team out there going into the tournament. So now we're down to the final four, right? In each region. So we're at the
Yes.
Sweet 16 in March Madness. And I'm going to go through these games here, and they're going to be played in New York City, Louisville, Kentucky, Kansas City, Missouri, and Las Vegas, Nevada. So let's go with the number one overall seed, Alabama. They go up against San Diego State, who is a fifth seed. What's your take on that one?
I was really impressed with San Diego State on their run. A lot of people had possibly them losing to Charleston in the first round. Really good defensive team. I think that their run will get cut short on was that game on Thursday?
Yeah, 320 the 24th. So that's what?
That is
Friday.
Yes, Friday. Alabama just has too much firepower. I don't know if they're going to be able to match that. One little luck they do have is that top freshman Brandon Miller has been playing through a growing injury, and he hasn't really been playing that well. So that can possibly help. But in order for San Diego State to win this game, this has to be a low-scoring game. They have to lock in defensively.
Right. Sounds good. All right. So the other game on the 24th, this will be in Louisville, Creighton and Princeton. Now that's an intriguing matchup.
Very. It's intriguing because I think Princeton has played the best basketball in this NCAA tournament, and that was one of the few
a 15 seed at that.
Right? And that was one of the teams I really haven't saw. I know that they were neck and neck with I want to say Yale for being number one team in the Ivy League all season. So what they've been able to do defensively against Arizona, who is one of the top offensive teams in the nation, and then Missouri, which is like a top 5 offensive team in the nation.
Yeah, and the thing is they beat Missouri by what, 15. So they're legit. You can't, they beat Arizona, they got through that one, and then they pretty much pounced on Missouri. So so that's good. They're a legit group team here in this group at 15. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah. And I'm gonna say Creighton is going to win because what they did with handling Baylor kind of so easily. And I watched Creighton. Yeah, I watched Creighton plenty of times this season. They are a really good team.
Right.
So it's another team that can score. So Princeton is going to have to lock in defensively to,
Yep.
be
And
able to.
folks, if you don't know where Creighton is, it's in Nebraska. I think Omaha, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. So that's the gist on them. So on Thursday, we got Florida Atlantic playing Tennessee in New York City. Tennessee's been balling.
Yep.
And then Florida Atlantic took care of FDU yesterday, yesterday, I believe it was. So that's it's going to be a tall order, I think, for FAU. The way Tennessee's playing and how they're looking, they look better than a 4 seed actually. And FAU is a 9 seed. And of course, that don't mean anything in the realm of March Madness. These seedings, because the way this goes, especially when you get deep into the tournament. Now we're coming up on the second weekend. And then following that is Kansas State and Michigan State. Now this game and another game that follows, I'll tell you about in a minute, is probably going to be the most interesting. But then I look down the list and wait, I might be wrong here. There's quite a few.
There's quite a few
I won't
games.
say that. Yeah, I'll take that back. I won't say Kansas State and Michigan State's the most interesting, but man,
it's just really dope.
Game here.
I guess you can. I'm not mad at you saying Michigan State, Kansas State. I mean, these are, especially Michigan State, being probably the only maybe blue blood basketball team left in this tournament. So to see Tom Izzo, making another Sweet 16 run, he did against 2 pretty good teams in USC and Marquette, who a lot of people had going to the Final Four. So they're playing with a lot of energy right now, and I won't be surprised if Tom Izzo gets these guys to the Elite 8.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned Blue Bloods because UNC's not in, but they never
Nope.
even made the tournament.
Nope.
Duke's out.
Yep.
Marquette,
Kansas is out.
adios.
Yeah.
Virginia, out.
Yep.
Kentucky, out.
Yep.
Kansas, out.
Yep.
I mean, man. And they didn't even make it past the first weekend, right?
Nope.
I mean, these teams usually always, except for Virginia, they're kind of, come and go.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's crazy.
Well, it was interesting to see. They were talking to John Calipari, head coach of Kentucky, after their loss, and he was saying that this is this is the difference why everybody can't go to Kentucky because of the pressure of them being Final Four or bust every year, and this is the second year in a row that he has not gotten to the Sweet 16, and now there are rumors, which I'm pretty sure there's nothing behind it, that he's on a hot seat, which I highly doubt that, but that just goes to show you that you don't make it to the Sweet 16 twice as a blue blood school. It's just everybody goes haywire. So yeah,
of course, but he'll be there next year because they've got the #1 recruiting class in the nation, and my guy DJ Wagner out of Camden, New Jersey, leads the way in that group. So
Yes,
I'm definitely interested in watching them next year, even though I do not care for that program. I don't like Calipari, and another guy I don't like just got a new job today. Do you know who that is?
I'm gonna guess, because I don't think it's Ed Cooley, so I'm gonna guess it's Rick.
Yeah, Rick Pitino is back, folks. He's back with St. John's. Now I like St. John's because they're from New York, so I got an affinity for the Northeast team between New York and Jersey. We all know why. So anyway, but I don't like Pitino at all. So
that's fair.
It's gonna be kind of hard rooting for them, but I'll try my best. Yeah. So anyway, so we talked about Kansas and Michigan State. They are in New York City, and then in the Midwest in Kansas City, we've got Houston and Miami, and that's another one, man. That looks wow. Miami had a good game against Indiana. Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
Oh no, I was gonna say that this is gonna be like a tale of two totally different styles of play. You're talking about Houston, who is probably arguably the best defensive team in NCAA this year, going against one of the best offensive teams in the NCAA in Miami. So this is going to be a really fun matchup. And as of today, I don't know. I mean, I got to watch Marcus Sasser, looked fine. So I mean,
yeah.
But another week, maybe he's closer to 100%. I'm going to lean towards Houston, but it's hard for me to pick with it.
And then Isaiah Wong of Miami was playing well. So if he can play well, it's good, man. I tell you, this to me looks look like an even matchup. It's going to be tough. This should be a down to the wire barn burner here that I'm thinking. Houston is a 1 seed, and then Miami's a 5 seed. So this should be pretty good.
Yep.
And then in the other bracket, we got Xavier out of Cincinnati playing Texas, and Texas has been rolling lately. They blew out Kansas about a week and a half ago by 20, and they've been balling. So that should be another fun matchup. A 2 versus a 3 too. So man, that's pretty awesome.
This might be my I think Xavier might be my sleeper to make it out this bracket. The way they've been playing, I really like them. But they have a tall task versus Texas. Like you said, probably the hottest team left is Texas. So.
This Midwest Final Four, regional Final Four is, man, Houston, definitely. Miami, Xavier, Texas. And then you got the winner, whoever the winners are. That's another great matchup. It could be, Houston, Xavier, Houston, Texas. Now imagine that. Houston versus Texas. Oh my gosh.
That would be a fun one. That would be a fun one.
And then you got Miami that could play either, of course, Texas or Xavier. And any one of those games is like, man.
And then the irony of if Houston and Texas were to play each other, it's to get to Houston. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Yes, sir. Okay, so in the out west, you got in Vegas. Who's going? You going? You going to Vegas?
I wish.
Gotta get that Packard fixed.
Right.
Also, so we got Arkansas and UConn. UConn's been really surprising. I didn't think, they are a 4 seed and Arkansas is an 8 seed, but I thought that UConn kind of played below their ability most of the year.
So this is my favorite matchup. I watched UConn a lot during the regular season.
Who's the guy for UConn?
So they got, oh man, I can't think of his name, but their center is their best player. He's averaged like 20 plus points in the NCAA tournament this year. And then they actually have a guard who's a shooter. I can't think of his name. Jordan Hawkins is the guard. He's a freshman. He's a probable first-round pick. And then Adama Sanogo is the big man. I know he was their conference player of the year. But they're going up against a team that has a lot of NBA prospects on their team in Arkansas. Man, I thought
Arkansas always seems to have those roadrunner type guys, right? The guys that can just go.
And, I thought kind of like Tennessee, Arkansas was a team that played really well for the first half of the season. Was floating around top 10. So was UConn. UConn even touched number 1 for a little bit.
Right.
And they all went on skids. Yeah, UConn was actually playing pretty well the first half of the season. They all went on skids. And, UConn, that's the reason why I think UConn is definitely a 4 seed. Arkansas is just in a tough conference in the SEC.
Yeah, for sure.
But that game is going to be so fun to watch, man. I can't wait to watch that one.
Yeah. And they beat Auburn, right?
Who beat Auburn?
Was it
Arkansas beat Kansas.
Who beat Auburn? Was somebody? Was it Tennessee?
It might have been Tennessee.
Yeah, because it seems like Tennessee, Auburn, Arkansas, they're all the same guys. You look on the court, and if you're not looking at their jersey, they're all the same guys. It's like,
all grown men on the court.
So the big matchup in the West in Vegas will be Gonzaga and UCLA, University of California at Los Angeles. Who you got in that one?
I mean, last Monday I told you that I thought, that this was possibly Gonzaga's year to fly under the radar throughout this tournament, low key, unlike any other year, and make
TCU gave him a run, though, man.
Exactly, and TCU gave them a run, which now about everybody thinking, I don't know about these guys again. They were down early to TCU, but they came back, they rallied. It's just hard to go against this group of Anton Watson, of course Drew Timme. They have guys that have been here before now instead of like the last couple of years are just diaper dandies. So I'm going to lean towards Gonzaga. Of course, they also have that non-conference schedule that prepares them for games like this. But UCLA is another team, though, that has guys that have been here before. I can't think of Marquez or something like that. I know he's been here for –
Jaquez.
Jaquez, yeah. He's been here.
Yes, and Nancy Conyers, thank you.
Tiger Campbell.
Beat Auburn, right. Correct.
Yes, Houston did beat Auburn. So I'm going to stick with my gut. I'm going to go Gonzaga. Going to make it to this Elite Eight. Who you got this game?
I think Gonzaga's going home.
Not mad at that at all.
Yeah, I think UCLA is going to beat them. Jaime Jaquez has been pretty much lights out since he's been the guy because Johnny Juzang is now with the Utah Jazz. Yep. It would have been nice to see them because if he would have stayed, they'd definitely probably be the number 1 team in the nation.
Definitely.
But they got Tiger Campbell, a steady point guard out of Cedar Rapids, Iowa, of all places. And so, yeah, UCLA is going to be tough to beat. And I think in this tournament, I think they're going to beat Gonzaga. But they can't let Timme go nuts, though. That's the thing. They can't let him go nuts. TCU kind of, they had a good first half, but the thing about it is, Gonzaga caught up somewhat, and they were down like 3 or 5 at halftime. So they took over in the second half, and and then Timmy got hot as he can do. He's got really good footwork, to be a big man. And he gets calls. That's the one thing. That's the one thing. He gets calls, warranted or not, he gets them. So, that's going to be, UCLA is going to have to watch that. But I think overall, I think UCLA is going to get them.
Who's a team that you were surprised went home early in the first weekend also?
Well, all the ones I named except Virginia earlier when I said Duke's gone, Kansas is gone. I mean, you don't expect them to go in the first weekend. So, those particular teams are a surprise. Purdue, I didn't expect them to go home so early.
That was
first
a tough
game.
one.
Yeah.
That was a tough one.
Zach Edey's been, dominating, the whole season. Every team I've seen go up against him just can't deal with him. But,
it's almost like Iowa played into exactly what FDU wanted, which was they were trying to force feed Zach Edey the ball, knowing that they had two guys around him at all time. I thought that Iowa should have got up and down, or not Iowa, but Purdue should have maybe picked up the pace a little bit. But yeah, they played right into FDU's hands. I was so surprised by that game.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, a 1 seed playing a 16 seed. This is only the second time it's happened.
Yep.
When UMBC beat Virginia. So wow. So now, look, it might happen more regularly from here on out, right? Because it never happened up until a couple of years ago, and now it happened again. So look, next year, whoever's number one better watch out.
Yep.
Shoot, man.
Especially
see, that's what March Madness is. To me,
Definitely.
It's the best time of the year as far as basketball is concerned. It's better than the Super Bowl, in my opinion. For me, it's better than the World Series. It's just you go from one game that's crazy to the next game that could be just as or even more so crazy. You got buzzer beaters, barn burners, whatever you want to call them. You got controversial calls. You got, 3-pointers that are like from way downtown, like way downtown, from on the outskirts of town. It's like, man, what the heck? I mean, but it seems like every year it gets better and better and better, and that's what we want. Man. I mean,
yeah,
it's just so awesome. That's why March Madness is just so crazy and good. I mean, how can you not like it? I mean, if you don't like basketball, of course, I get that. But if you like basketball, you have to love March Madness, and I certainly do.
Even people who don't like basketball, like especially like people who went to college and all that, like it's hard not to like watch it. You got people who are in their work office pools and they get together and put it NCAA brackets together.
Exactly.
Like,
they don't watch all year long, but they're watching March Madness. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah. And then I like the way they have it formatted where CBS has games, you got True TV, TBS, TNT, you got all sorts of outlets that you could tune into, and when one go to commercial. My thing is, I when I start watching the games, I watch the games, and then of course once they start getting deep into the day, what I do is I switch over to the games that are about the in the second half. Like if let's say, for instance, let's say Alabama and San Diego State were playing, and then all of a sudden Kansas State, Michigan State comes on. Well, I want to watch that game, but I'm going to stick to the Alabama game because it came on first, and it's late in the second half. And unless it's a blowout, then I won't switch over and until it's either ending or it's just forget it. It's a done deal. And that's how I treat the whole thing. I see this game is like 5 minutes to go. I'll switch right over, even if it's like FD, Farley Dickinson in Florida Atlantic. I mean, who's really interested in that game other than those schools? But I watched it because the other games were still just getting underway or whatever. That game was starting to be over and it was close. So I'm like, yeah, I'm watching this. I don't want to miss this. Something might happen. How about you?
Man, it depends on the game, but I definitely like to at least get a feel of what's going on in the game first. So yeah, I will definitely turn to that game in that second half, but I also like to watch like the first 5 to 8 minutes of the first half just to get a feel of the pace and, what the underdog's doing, game planning for, the better team. So yeah, it's just, I flip all over. I'm just everywhere with my remote. Like 5 minutes, I'll be watching one game. 5 minutes, I'll be watching the next game. And then of course, once it gets down to the last, 5 minutes of a close game, of course I'm tuning in for that, because you will miss a lot in the last 5 minutes of the NCAA tournament game. So I was able to watch whoever Virginia was playing in the first round, their upset. I was able to watch, that. I watched that run that team made back, and I also watched the buzzer beater. So that was fun to watch. Yeah, man, it's hard to just keep just stay on one game.
So out of these 8 games that are left this weekend, there's only one game that's kind of like a yawner to me. That looks like, but look,
Tennessee and FAU.
You got it. Yes, that one to me looks like a yawn fest. But look, that might be the best game of the tournament. Who knows? We don't know. That's why they play them.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, but every other game looks like, man, you got to keep your eye on it, right? You don't want to take your eye off it.
I think I asked you before the tournament started, and you said you haven't watched too much, so it's hard to give me an answer right away. Do you think you can give me an answer now on who do you think is going to win the NCAA tournament?
See, man, you ask hard questions. Man, you're trying to embarrass me on live radio, man.
I was down to 16 teams.
Well, true. I would like to say, the obvious Alabama, but you know what? I'm not going to go there. I'm going to say a team like either Kansas State or Michigan State, one of those, whoever comes out of that one.
Okay.
Because that one's a tough one. And Kansas State got guards. And when you got guards, man, you can go far, especially, in this day and age. Back in the day, when Lou Alcindor, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was playing, the Big E, Elvin Hayes, them kind of cat, Bill Walton, those big dudes, they really, handled the NCAA tournament, and it made it tough for other teams to match that. But nowadays, it ain't about the big guy, right? I mean, Zach Edey's put out, right? Kentucky, when their big guys are put out. So if you got strong guard play in this day and age, you've got a good chance to win or go far. So that's what I think. So I think, man, oh, this is wow. I mean, because I'm looking at Texas, I'm looking at Xavier, I'm looking at UCLA.
I just love it's a whole bunch of.
It's like, man, what the heck? How do you pick those?
Man, it's tough.
Yeah, I mean, that's why there's no perfect brackets. I mean, everybody's brackets is got untied shoelaces. They're broken. Jeez. Man. So wow. I mean, look, I would not be surprised if San Diego State beat Alabama.
Ooh.
I wouldn't.
Oh, okay.
I would not be surprised. I'm not saying they will, but if all they got to do really is not lose their composure, don't turn the ball over, and just be steady on offense. And like you said, they got to slow it down because Alabama can rip and run. You don't want them doing that. And they got those guys, that can just like Brandon Miller, man. He's what 6'9", 6'9", and he's like KD, right? Kind of smooth, got a strong handle. So and he can create his own shot. When you're 6'9", 6'10", you can do that, man. That's boy, the NBA's got saliva all over him. Looking at him,
And like I said, luckily for San Diego State is, they have guys that they're also, I think they're probably one of the oldest teams in NCAA or in the tournament that's left. Yeah, experienced. And, they have nothing. I think I heard that they play like maybe 2 juniors and everybody else is seniors in the rotation. So
that's good for this year, not so much next year.
Exactly.
Unless they got some dynamite freshmen coming in.
Yeah. So like going up against a team like, Alabama, who's a little more inexperienced, but probably more talented, you want to have that experience on your side, in the NCAA tournament. So it's going to be a better match than what people think.
Yeah. And why can't Washington get it together, man? Seriously. I mean, you got San Diego. Look, You got San Diego State in, right? You got Creighton, you got Princeton. You know, those are teams that you don't. When you think about basketball, you're not thinking about those teams,
No.
right? So,
No.
so Washington needs to get it together, man. You know, I don't know
Yeah.
what the heck they're doing, but it's good
And
to know that Minifield's coming back. He said he's coming back.
2 players are transferring.
Yes, but that's
PJ
expected.
Fuller and Jackson Grant. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, those are guys who, you know, PJ Fuller's in and out the lineup, and then Jackson Grant wasn't really in the lineup that much.
Yep.
So.
All right, thanks. So we're going to go on break. And so when we come back, we will be hitting the NFL as usual. And we're going to go into OT with the NBA. Don't go away.
I'm Paul Pearson, host of Star Time. And when I'm not hearing men compare women to residential real estate, I'm listening to Rainier Avenue Radio .world.
Did you know there's an easy way to keep yourself and your loved ones healthy? COVID vaccines are safe and a proven way to keep your family out of the hospital and enjoying life. Let's show our love to those around us. Get your free COVID vaccine today. If you haven't had a COVID shot since September, you're due for a booster. At NeighborCare Health, we are here for you. For more information about COVID vaccines and all of your health needs, visit neighborcare.org/vaccines.
Greetings. This is your host, DJ Naftali, Rainier Avenue Radio .world, the best DJ in the Seattle area. You can catch me every Monday at 8 p.m. on YouTube. Like I said, this is DJ Naftali, the best reggae in Seattle, Washington, the best radio station, Rainier Avenue Radio .world. Man, right?
The beat of the Fox with nastiness is back on K-Fox Night Beat.
Yo, what's the deal? It's the legendary Hall of Fame DJ Mixmaster Ice from UTFO.
What's up? Who you thought this is? This is Sir Mix-a-Lot.
And this is Terry Lewis.
And I'm Grand Mixer GMS.
What's up, y'all? This is DJ Third Degree.
This is JJ Hudson from the High Children family.
Sunday nights from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. It's K-Fox Night Beat with DJ Nastiness.
Bringing back the memories.
Bringing back the memories.
Bringing Seattle's hottest music.
Bringing Seattle's hottest music. Rainier Avenue Radio .world.
That's my Illinois.
Peace.
And welcome to our live studio audience for another exciting edition of Did You Know? And here we go with round one. Did you know?
COVID vaccine is free and easy to get. You don't need insurance or an appointment to get your vaccine. Vaccines are available at many locations near you.
And now we're going to double the value. Did you know?
The COVID-19 vaccine is always free of cost. You can visit pharmacies, community health centers, and other health providers in your neighborhood.
And now for the lightning round. Did you know?
The Delta variant of COVID is a mutation that has health experts worried because it's twice as contagious.
Then for our finale. Did you know?
The best way to protect yourself from the COVID Delta variant is to get fully vaccinated. Get your vaccine today.
Find out more at kingcounty.gov/vaccine.
Did you know?
You are listening to Rainier Avenue Radio,
your community radio station.
Welcome back to LidLine Sports. Hey, friends. Don't go away after LidLine Sports goes off the air, because coming up after us, we have Resolve Jazz Radio Seattle, Filipino radio jazz radio show coming up right after us. So you don't want to miss that, especially if you like jazz like I do. So that's pretty good. I want to welcome back some I want to do some shout outs to Nancy Conyers and Michael Carter. Thank you for hitting us up on the chat. And thank you, Michael, for also acknowledging that the UW women are in the Sweet 16 for the. Are they in the NIT? I think they're in the. Yep. So they're in the Sweet 16 on that. They won 2 games. So that's cool. They won their last game against New Mexico 67-56. They outscored New Mexico 26-8 in the fourth quarter. Man, that's D right there. They stuck it to them. Did you catch any of that? Oh,
we're talking about the women's NCAA tournament. I was able to watch. Who did I watch? I watched what's her name? South Carolina yesterday. Who else did I watch?
Yeah, that's probably another win. But Stanford did lose.
So and Stanford did lose. Yeah, that was. I don't know if this was. I forget what it was, but this was the first time a number 1 seed didn't make the Sweet 16. I don't know if that was ever or in a long time, but I know I heard that. Yeah. The women are pretty. Their number 1 seeds usually are pretty steady. Mm-hmm. There's been some upsets though.
Absolutely, yeah. Which we need. For for entertainment purposes, it's always good to have a few upsets. Unless you root for that school, and I apologize. Sorry for that, but you get it. So anyway, yeah. So shout out to the women's. South Carolina looks to be on the women's side, they do have a juggernaut, and that's South Carolina. And they beat everybody all the time. I mean, they beaten UConn this year. They blew out LSU this year. So
beat them twice.
If there's a team that you're going to say that's a clear-cut favorite, it's definitely South Carolina. And shout out to the wonderful Dawn Staley. Listen, I was living back east back in the day, right? And I remember Dawn Staley when she was in high school. Because she's from Philly, and I was kind of in that area. So I remember when she was in high school. And then, of course, her resume since then.
Yeah.
She's just, man, whatever they're paying her, it ain't enough.
Yeah.
She is something else.
I just remember her in the WNBA. My grandparents, they had Storm season tickets since they've been a team. So she was always that gritty, high IQ point guard.
Super high IQ.
Yeah. It's carrying over to her being.
Yeah, she had like a John Stockton IQ, right? If you want to compare, IQ in basketball, right? She had that. She was definitely something else. So and she is still, because she's a coach, right? So she's still around. She's not gone yet. So I don't want to make it seem like she's gone. Yeah, she's still active and still doing her thing. So shout out to that. So let's get into the little NFL stuff. Of course, we talked about the free agency hit the market last week, and now you can sign folks. And of course, we still have Aaron Rodgers drama. I mean, why? Really?
I mean, well, at least he came out and said his intention is to play for the Jets. So at least we got that out of the way.
All he did was put pressure on it.
I know.
If they don't make this happen, what are they going to look like? I mean, they've signed Lazard, his guy, right? I mean, they've signed a couple of players that he requested, So
I guess what would you think the market is, for Aaron Rodgers? I don't know how many years left he has on his contract. I'm pretty sure it's 1 or 2.
It's 1.
He's aging, but he is still a top quarterback. But he's aging. Like, what are you asking? What are you asking for if you're the Packers?
Well, of course, look, for the Packers, you want the deal like Seattle got, right? You want to burn the Jets like Seattle burned the Broncos. Now, look, the Seahawks didn't know that they were roasting the Broncos like they did. Nobody did. We didn't know that. Yeah. But that's the thing that they're going to be looking for now, because it happened. So now that it's happened, folks are going to be trying to do the same thing. They're going to try and say, okay, this is what we want. A couple of firsts. We want this guy, that guy, second, whatever. They're going to try. They're going to try and do a Seahawk thing. They set the bar for roasting. So they're going to ask for it. Now, whether they should get it or they do get it, I don't know. But they'll probably get something. They'll probably get a first and second and
for sure.
Some player, but I wouldn't give him 2 firsts. I was like, oh no. We're not doing that.
Do you think that's where I guess not really hold up, but do you think is that where, they're trying to figure out a medium of, what the Jets should be getting rid of?
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah. Somebody's going to have to cave,
Mm-hmm.
So it's probably, to be honest, it'll probably be the Jets that cave.
Yeah.
Because they're desperate for a quarterback. It's obvious they don't like who they have, Zach Wilson. And even though Zach Wilson's saying all the right things, and whatever, we know that's a toxic situation. They've already lost Mike White to Miami?
Yep.
If I'm not mistaken. So he's going to be backing up Tua, which he'll probably be playing a lot because Tua will probably get hurt. So, but I don't know. I'm just tired of it, man. I just wish they'd make a deal as quick as possible so we can stop hearing about it. I am tired of Aaron Rodgers drama. Yeah. So, and of course, we hear that Derrick Henry's on the block. Seattle fans don't even get hyped about that. They're not getting him. They're not going to even try. And then you got
we got a Cowboys running back who got cut, right?
Yeah, Ezekiel. Yeah. So Ezekiel got cut. Dak's not happy. Oh, I don't know what I'm going to do without him. Yeah, whatever, man. It's football, bro. Tony Pollard's there. He's great, right? He's a great running back. They're going to need a backup. I'm sure they'll find one. I mean, who doesn't want to go to Dallas? As much as I despise that team, it's an attractive place to go. So if you're a free agent, you're going to look at Dallas and say, hey, I think I might want to go there. Dallas lost Dalton Schultz. He signed with the Texans, right? Darius Slay is going to stay in Philly after all that drama of him wanting to leave. And of course, Quandre Diggs of the Seahawks tried to recruit him, which is, I expect that from him. He's that kind of guy. And I like it. I like the fact that he does do that because it shows that he's all in, right?
He's trying to win.
Give him a lot of money. So he's all in. Oh, yeah. Did I say that out loud? But anyway, yeah. So and then of course Vegas signed Jimmy G. What do you think about that?
It's a solid pickup. Somebody who didn't play much last year because he was hurt. I don't think he'll be the answer to, the Raiders trying to turn it around and become a playoff team in that new city. So I'm surprised that, I thought maybe they'd be a team that'd be a little more desperate comes off season and go look at Aaron Rodgers or possibly throw money at Lamar Jackson. But settled for Jimmy G. So.
Well, I don't know if they can afford Lamar.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
They got some high contracts there already, Devontae and such, and they just picked up O.J. Howard because they traded away Darren Waller to the Giants. So for the Giants, man, that's a great
pickup.
Man. Yeah. So I was surprised by that. I was like, wait a minute, you need a quarterback and you need weapons, and you got rid of your second best weapon in Darren Waller because we all know Devontae is the guy there. So yeah. So then and of course San Francisco's made some moves. They shored up. They still got their defensive front, but they've lost some players too. They've lost Jimmy Ward. Yeah. So they've lost a couple of linebackers. So actually, they might not on paper look as good as they did this past season. Yeah. Okay. Especially with the quarterbacks all being question marks because of injury, not because of talent. So that's going to be interesting. And look, if you look carefully at the NFC West, believe it or not, the Seattle Seahawks, if everything falls into place, of course, with Geno still being Geno, getting another backup runner for K9 and he doesn't get hurt, working in their tight ends like they did. They worked in Fant and Disley's always hurt. So I'm thinking they might need another tight end. Colby Parkinson looks like he's going to be on his way up, as far as his skill level. They if they get their defense squared away, might be the best team in the NFC West.
Okay.
Other than, of course, you have to say San Francisco since they're defending, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, if things don't go well in the quarterback position for San Francisco, they could be had.
Yeah.
And who's the best team in the West that can take them? And that would be Seattle, because we know the Cardinals have issues. They still got issues with Kyler Murray. They got a brand new coach that, probably don't know what the heck he's doing, right? And of course, the Rams are just imploded. They're getting rid of everybody, right? They still got Cooper Kupp, but I heard he was on the block.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I heard there was a chance that he might even be on the block. So, man, that would be something. That would be one heck of a guy to get. And speaking of wide receiver, Adam Thielen signed with the Carolina Panthers. I'm kind of disappointed on that because I didn't want him to go there. I mean, because they don't have a quarterback.
Yeah.
I mean, what's he going there for? I mean, I don't know what some of these guys are thinking, really. I mean, I don't know what they offered him, but still, when you don't have a quarterback, why are you going to put yourself there?
Yeah, and I know Adam Thielen went on a couple shows after the Super Bowl and was saying that, he feels like he just has a lot left in the tank and he wants to go somewhere where, he can play. But to your point, yeah, I mean, that's fine, but you have nobody to throw it to you right now. So, yeah.
Yeah, good luck. Well, they do have the number 1 pick, so I guess
it's going to be a young guy, but yeah.
I guess Bryce Young, from what I'm hearing, Bryce Young is their guy.
Okay.
And then CJ Stroud is who's number 2? Texans. Duh.
Texans,
yeah, the Texans. They definitely need a quarterback, so they're going to take whoever Carolina doesn't take. Similar to the situation back in 07, 08, when Greg Oden and KD was 1-2, and Seattle got KD only because Portland took Greg Oden. Because if it was the other way around, that's who we would have been stuck with, Greg Oden, and they'd have been happy, right, at the time. Because he was like, whoa, But anyway, so that's how that's going to work for the 1 and 2 picks here in the NFL draft coming up in April, end of April. So that should be pretty interesting as well. So enough of the NFL. Let's get right into OT.
Yeah, the main story or the main headline over the last few weeks has been around Ja Morant. So he was suspended 8 games by the NBA, which ran concurrent with the 5 games he was already suspended by the Memphis Grizzlies. So he served 3 more games. That'll end today. He will return to practice, and barring any setbacks, head coach Taylor Jenkins said today he's hopeful Ja will play on Wednesday against the Rockets. Too soon, Pep?
No, I guess not.
Okay.
If the NBA feels like he served his time and his penance or whatever it is, then okay. I mean, who am I to say, heck no, he should have served 20 or 30? I don't work for the NBA. I have my opinion, but my opinion is they probably got it right. It's pretty serious, some of the stuff that he did, but it wasn't life altering, life threatening, or anything like that. So, and plus he got raked over the coals in the internet world. So pretty much, he served his time. Now he's got to get his game back together, get the Memphis Grizzlies going again. They still play, they always play well without him, believe it or not. Friends that pay attention to what's going on in the regular season. When Ja Morant sits out for injury for however long, the Memphis Grizzlies usually have a winning record. And I don't mean just, 13-10. I'm talking like 16-3, stuff like that. So, they do well without him. So, of course, with his talent, they do great with him too. So.
Yeah, they kept their head above water without him. They had some pretty good wins. They actually just beat the Warriors in fashion.
By 14.
Last weekend, yeah. And
what happened at the end of that game?
Yeah, it was funny because, you got this guy, Dylan Brooks, who is doing, I don't care what nobody says, he's doing such a good job of creating this villain role, and creating some type of rivalry between the Warriors and the Grizzlies. As much as they want to act like it's not, they keep bringing up the Grizzlies though. So whatever Dylan Brooks is doing, it's working, and he knows it's working. I know he knows that he's in their heads. But yeah, Klay Thompson threw up the 4 rings. And I hope that those guys get a playoff series and against each other, because it's going to be so fun. I still think the Warriors will come out on top, but just to see how much, and this is even including with John Morant, how much confidence that young group has is the reason why they are still a top 3 team, record wise in the West. They fell to 3, but that's more so to the compliment of Sacramento Kings playing, just in my opinion, the best basketball in the Western Conference right now. So.
I will say this: if the Warriors are still missing Andrew Wiggins in the playoffs, they're not going far.
Yeah, and
not.
I wanted to talk about that, but there's speculation, and I don't want to be that guy who brings up rumors that could very well not be true.
But his significant other has come out
and said the rumor wasn't
it's
true.
false, whatever. And so we don't need to bring up what was said or what the rumor is. It's pretty sad and sorry.
Sad and nasty to see that, regardless of even if it was, to see that it gained traction like that without nobody officially saying anything throughout the Warriors camp is.
I don't want to speculate. Look, nobody's talking though. Nobody's saying why he hasn't played, why he's been out. He hasn't played since February 13th. It's been over a month,
and it's shown.
And they struggle. They struggled on the road, regardless whether he's there or not. That we know that's a fact. But if he's not there for the playoffs, they don't have a shot to go far.
Interestingly, a lot of people have said that there are struggles on the road, and it's clear to some people that it is definitely due that they have no no chemistry throughout that locker room. And they said this goes back to when Draymond Green and Jordan Poole got into it in training camp. And you can just tell, usually when a team goes on the road, they bond together and whatnot.
But they're not bonding.
No, it doesn't seem like they're not, because they are giving up a lot of points on the road. And, it's very alarming for a team who, as of right now, is not a top 4 team in the West. So they're going to have to play on the road for 3 out of 4 games or 4 out of 3 games in the playoffs. So, that's going to be really interesting for the Golden State.
I'm glad you mentioned that locker room, that brawl, or that fight that Draymond and Jordan Poole had, because that stuff lingers. As being up here in Seattle, we remember when Golden Tate, Percy Harvin, all them cats was fighting in the locker room, and Percy was beating up folks, and then of course we had the rumors of the Golden Tate and Russell Wilson debacle and all that stuff. That stuff lingers, and it shows. So and then it seems like that's what's happening this year for the Warriors.
Agree, 100%.
You got that. You got the Wiggins stuff going on, and now you got the Grizzlies harping at them, chirping at them. So that stuff is real. You can play it off all you want to, but that stuff, that's real life.
Agree. We're at about 10 games left in the NBA season. The talk on the court has been who's the MVP. Is it Joel Embiid? Is it Nikola Jokic? Is it another? I can say personally that if the race was pretty close, I think Joel Embiid has definitely taken the driver's seat over these last 10 so games. I know that the 76ers just got their winning streak ended by Chicago Bulls, who's playing pretty solid. But Joel Embiid is doing a good job of silencing whatever doubter of thinking that Nikola Jokic should be MVP. And as much as I love Nikola Jokic, I never really understood this year why he even was in such a far lead in MVP when you had somebody like Jason Tatum, who had the best record throughout this whole season, averaging 30 points and 8 rebounds.
Here's the problem with Tatum.
I never understood that.
Problem with Tatum is Jaylen Brown. He cancels him out because they're so good together.
Agreed.
Jaylen will get 39, but Brown will have 37.
Agreed.
Jaylen will get 50. Brown will have 41. Brown will get 38. Jaylen will have 31. I mean, they're so dynamic together is like when you don't think of Jason Tatum as a one entity. You think of him, and then you think of Jaylen Brown, and they're so good together. It's hard. It will be almost impossible for Jason Tatum to win an MVP because he's the lead guy, but he's not the only guy. Whereas Embiid, he has Harden with him, but Embiid has been so dominant, right? You have to consider him as an MVP favorite. And then Harden, he misses a lot of quite a few games.
Yes, he has.
So he doesn't have the same impact against Embiid as Tatum and Jaylen Brown do. And of course, you got Jokic, who's been the MVP the last 2 seasons, right? So if he wins this year, it'll be 3 in a row, and that's hard to beat. You know, and the thing about it is, I'm at the old school, is you have to knock out the champion, right? And so, yes, Embiid has been phenomenal, but so is Jokic. So if it's that close, I would say that probably Embiid would deserve it. But I'm looking at the NBA and the writers and who gets the votes. I'm going to tell you, they're going to give it to Jokic again, because if it's that close, they're going to give it to Jokic to win, for him to get his third straight. That's just my opinion, though.
And another reason why Jason Tatum won't get it is also the Boston Celtics are now going from first to third in the Eastern Conference. He has actually been a little bit a part of that issue. He's had bad shooting nights and bad losses. They lost to the Houston Rockets. I think they just lost to the Utah Jazz. So things like that just can't go unnoticed.
Rockets beat the Lakers too. So
yeah, they did. They definitely
did.
That. Shout out to the Rockets on those definitely 2 solid wins.
And then, and then KP Jr. had 27 and 20.
Good for him. He was out for a while.
Yeah.
So good for him. So you're going to go Jokic. I'm going to lean and say maybe the voters have paid attention to how dominant Joel Embiid has been over this last 2-3 weeks since, this has been a real story. So hopefully, I do think Embiid should win it. So I don't
have a problem with that. I just don't think the writers and stuff, like I said, if it's that close, they'll probably give it.
I hear you. Also, I thought this was pretty interesting. I don't know if the reason has came out yet. So Hornets majority owner and legend Michael Jordan process to sell his stake in the team. Now Michael Jordan bought minority stake in 2006, called the Charlotte Bobcats back then, and then became a majority owner in 2010. We all know, I think they've only been to the playoff once. He's had 1 All-Star and Kemba Walker. A lot of people have made a lot of debacle about his first-round draft picks that he's made. Michael Gilchrist be one, and others. What is his grade as an owner?
It's obvious. It's a D. There's no question about it. It's a D. And that's probably why he's getting out, because he knows it's just not worked out. He's been there since 2006, like you said, as a minority owner. This is 2023, so that's 17 years of mostly failure.
Yeah,
right. Because he's been the high stake. He's been the majority stakes since 2010, which is the last 13 years. So.
And even throughout those years, he was always head of basketball operations and all that. So he's always been the guy who made the moves, made the decisions when it comes to roster and personnel. So
it hasn't worked out.
Yeah, it just sucks to see, like I said, considering possibly the best basketball player of all time and his legacy and all that. It sucks to see that it hasn't worked him being in the front office. But
because look, and not everybody's Jerry West.
Yes,
because for the most part, even Larry Bird. I mean, he tried coaching. He tried to be a GM and all that, and to be honest, he probably had C work as far as you want to grade.
Coach of the year once, right?
Yeah, so it's tough. Magic tried coaching.
Tough. Very tough.
Magic tried. So being an awesome player does not translate to being an awesome executive. It happens because, like I said, Jerry West. Pat Riley, he was a good player, right? In NBA, he was never a superstar by any stretch, but he was definitely a serviceable player back in the day. I remember him well. You could say what you want about Danny Ainge. He's done pretty decent as a GM. So some of these, sometimes, even if you're just a good NBA player, you could be a pretty savvy, smart executive, whereas you could be a freaking all world, but that don't mean your executive skills are going to be all world. So we've seen that, and it's proven. So yeah,
I agree. IQ on the court and then off the court in front office totally different. Power rankings, I still got the Milwaukee Bucks at number 1. Best record in the league, the Philadelphia 76ers. I told you guys they even went on a crazy win streak that just ended today at number 2. I gave Denver Nuggets the slight lead at number 3 at 48-24. I'm now thinking I should have went sack. I got Boston at 4, 49-23, and then sack at number 5, but probably should be number 3.
Yeah, those top 5, not too bad. Look, we're out of time, so don't forget to listen to Rizal Jazz Radio Seattle right after us. On behalf of my man Daniel Bellis and the Otis Stevenson, this is LidLine Sports, and I am your boy Pep. See you next week. Holla.
Yeah.